When Greece adopted the euro in 2001, the country's economy began to collapse. First, high inflation was ignored by the government. Then, after festering for several years, the issue forced banks to close across the country, the rest of the eurozone, to protect their currency's value, loan Greece money. However, the economy failed to improve, and the government had to accept a bailout, the terms of which generated an unemployment crisis. Greece was still in turmoil, and cycles of loans and bailouts deepened the dilemma. Soon, tensions rose over the unpaid loans. Finally, after meeting with the eurozone, Greece's legislators discussed the problems they faced. The sound vibrated throughout the chamber and the session began. "Attention!" cried Smith, Prime Minister of Greece. "For weeks we have thought naught but of war. Ever since the threat we have hid terrified. This must be addressed." The crowd shifted uneasy. All of them remembered. A country in flames couldn't lower the value of a currency. To this purpose, I have composed the final act, which will finally end our troubles. Lena! The chamber's double doors flew open, slamming shut as a tall, blonde-haired woman flew beyond their reach. She screeched to halt and pulled a letter from her pocket. "Thank you. Lena, will you read the bill?" She shook her head.
It makes no sense. Have 150% tax rates become common?
"How else will we pay off the loan? Anyways, Greece is already dead." The legislators began to whisper. Only Mr. Harrow understood.
Smith, why are you raising taxes? I thought we were saving Greece, not crushing it.
I apologize. Before I could explain my plan, I was interrupted. Greece is dead. We had no chance to save it. Yet we don't have to go down with the ship. This bill may damage the country, but it wards off war as we escape.
We have no right to flee. We promised we would solve the problems of the nation, not worsen them.
Smith seemed to suppress Harrow's argument with tone alone. When it is impossible to do something, why do it? And saving Greece isn't just impossible, it's inconceivable. Now, let's call a vote.
Greece, against our wishes, passed the final act, skyrocketing taxes and redirecting all funding towards the loans. As infrastructure crumbled and business collapsed, we moved to the wine town of Tyrnavos, hoping to save a portion of our land. But by founding a communist holocracy where people led according to the specialties, we have created a thriving community despite the chaos that surrounds us.
Our city, with its population of 10,000, is divided into 5 city districts. These zones include 2 renovated slums, which house our people's water treatment facilities, construction workers, and electrical generators. 2 divisions of repopulated housing, which uphold farmers and ranchers, and the governmental center, which we, along managers and college professors, call home. Though this arrangement might seem simple, there's a process behind each aspect of our task.
You may now move into the tent and to the first poster.
For example, since the inhabitants of our city's slums stubbornly refuse to relocate from their home ground, they've employed several shelters to renovate their living conditions. We have made our dome-shaped earth-bag houses by layering sandbags with barbed wire and coating the result with clay. We've also crafted wine barrel houses out of wooden wine vats, sawing entrances into the tops of the barrels, washing them out in the river, and laying them on their side. These ingenious shelters now protect our families from the environment.
Move to the next poster.
After our people renovated Tyrnavos slums, we have helped them develop a hydration infrastructure.
We now gather water from our town's river, boil it to remove viruses and bacteria, evaporate and recondense it in a distilling process to remove contaminants, then distribute it from district centers. For us, this is more than a small miracle.
Move to the next poster.
While devising ways to keep our people hydrated, we figured out how to spread information. We worked with mailmen to found a bike cart letter transportation system, gave the police AM, FM radios so that they could broadcast emergency messages to our citizens who were granted AM, FM receivers, and began to communicate our own messages through public speaking. These methods unify our people.
By making speeches and forming relationships with political figures, we have established forces which ensure our city's security. We ask religious officials to preach to their congregations about the importance of government and community, help manage a police force, and encourage our population to assign leadership based on specialties. This breed containment, however, it does nothing to protect our people from disease.
Move to the next poster.
To ward off sickness, we work with medical specialists to gather and procure supplies. We scavenge from clinic and pharmaceutical centers, innovate ways to make supplies out of unused materials, such as that plastic bag stretcher I slung together, and enlist farmers to grow and collect natural remedies, including ginger and wild yarrow. Distributing these supplies from district hospitals, our community is shielded from disease.
Move to the next poster.
Where we were once forced to dirty streets, we now fill holes with layers of trash and dirt, topping them off in mounds to ensure the garbage isn't swept into our river by runoff. Go to the bathrooms and bucket latrines, which, scattered throughout the city, are emptied into district straddle trench latrines. And put food scraps into underground chambers where, as they decompose, the methane wafting of them is funneled into fuel tanks. All in all, this keeps our city clean.
Move to the next poster.
Once we innovated methods of waste management, we will work with the people of Tirnavos to devise two fuel sources.
We suggested the methane gathered from our waste.
And we recommend a repaired form of the city's original natural gas infrastructure. These sources now allow our city to boil its water and cook its food, to obtain and use this food, and to ward off the hunger that once preyed. We followed a process.
Move to the next poster.
First, we will farm our city's fertile soil, watering it with sprinkles. When a harvest is reaped, rewarding our city with beans, wheat, and squash. We will feed a portion of the crops to our livestock, which we will then later butcher, to store foods and vegetables we can, and to preserve meat. We salt it through a 6-month-long process. Furthermore, we keep all the food in root cellars. When making meals, we can either cook normally, or, if we need to stretch out supplies, make the Great Depression soup. All in all, this keeps our families fed. However, the sprinkler system requires electricity. To generate this for our people, I have designed the Bergiete Tension.